All right, guys. So, what do we have here today? This is Graviteam's newest game in their Graviteam Tactics series. And if you've played some of their older games like Operation Star and the expansion packs that came out with that, and their last game, Muse Front, you kind of know what to expect out of this game. It's a very tactical, real-time strategy game, but it's got a learning curve that's fairly steep. Now, I have all the older games from the past, but I never really put a whole lot of time into them. I'm going to be honest and upfront about that. Just because the other games kind of dealt with the Eastern Front, so Germans versus Russians, World War II. And to me, I know there's a lot of good battles and interesting stuff in that, but I don't know that that area of operations never really interested me much. I don't have a lot of interest in it, so that's probably why that I haven't played those other games too much. This game, though, is it's the same as that. So it's Graviteam Tactics, and now it's called Tank Warfare. And this is Tunisia 1943. So this is the this game focuses on the initial battles leading up to the big battles of Kasserine Pass in Tunisia. So it's American and Commonwealth forces. I think there's some French troops as well against the Germans. And to me, this is what I'm interested in. U.S. forces versus Germans, World War II. That's what I like, more so than the Germans versus the Russians. Nothing against the Russians. It's just I don't know. I don't find it all that interesting. But Andre from Graviteam Tactics was kind enough to give me a review code, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at the game and see what's up. I kind of know how to play this, but not at a high level like some other YouTubers. But we'll check it out. So again, this game here, if we click on campaign, you've got 3 different campaigns that you can play. And this game focuses on the Battle of Sidi Bou Zid. And again, it's the opening engagements of the big battle of Kasserine Pass and whatnot. That I'm sure probably most of you who, if you're watching this video, you probably know your history. And I expect that Graviteam will release more expansions or DLC, completing out this entire operation. So we'll get to see the actual Battle of Kasserine Pass, as well as some other ancillary battles that took part in that operation. But you've got 3 different campaigns that you can play here. You can play from the German side, actually attacking. You can play the Americans defending, and then you can play a smaller 3-turn game just for the Fayed Pass. And actually, I'm going to jump into one of these. I'm not going to play... Actually, that's not a good example. Let's go back to the main menu. How do we do that? Here we go. I'm not going to play the entire operation or a full-on turn, but I just want to show you something. So this is the map that we have here. As you can see, it's pretty extensive. It's pretty large. It gives you historical background, gives you campaign notes, everything like that. If you play these military types of games, you'll recognize some of the symbology here. The maps look fantastic, and the game is kind of like a 2-part game. So you start out with kind of like an operational overview on the map, and then from here, you can see all the different elevations for the hills, stuff like that, terrain features. But what was I going to say? All right. So here from the operational point, I guess I should preface, the way the turns are broken down is, first you start off in the operational phase, kind of like here, and you move your units, your platoons, your companies, what have you, around the map. And you can move them to these little nodes here. So blue indicates, good guy control, red indicates bad guy control. Pretty simple, right? And then I've got my game actually set to use the NATO symbols. I do this with all my games that, have this as an option. I like having the NATO symbols. Just because it's easier for me to recognize. Every game, will make different, icons and stuff for the units. So if at all possible, I switch to the NATO symbology. That way all my games are just kind of, the same throughout. So I don't have to remember, 55,000 different, icons depending on which game I'm playing. Put it on NATO symbols, learn those, one set of icons, and away you go. So you start off kind of like in this operational phase here. All of these are your units. These units are entrenched. You can see they have defensive works. They've got kind of like a little area of control. So if somebody gets attacked and it happens to be, within this circle, all of your friendly units within that highlighted circle will take part in the battle. But let's just see here. We've got a lot of tanks. I'll just show you guys, you can move stuff around. You click on a unit, and they can move to these green dots. That's their movement limitations for the turn. When you do move them, and again, we'll just move this guy here. You right-click. It uses, a fuel percentage. When you take part in battles, the stuff is calculated. You use ammunition, fuels, morale. All of that stuff affects your troops, so it's pretty detailed in that regard. But, you can just go off and move your units, wherever you see fit. And then you hit go. And, the enemy's obviously going to attack you too, or counterattack, or might, build defensive works or what have you. So you have to be prepared for that. But you hit the turn button. And before I do that, let me show you some of the stuff. And again, some of this stuff I haven't quite dove into yet. This is just kind of a quick look, first impressions here. Let's see, view briefing. We already know the briefing. Don't know what that does. What is that? Highlight company battalion for selected platoon. Yeah. You can get statistics for your squads. You can add reserves. What does this button do here? I think this automatically outfits your squads with, some reserve weapons based upon the intelligence from your briefing. What else? But anyway, so you move your stuff around, and then you hit the big green go button. This button here, next turn. Now, obviously, the enemy gets a say too. So this is the enemy attacking us. So you can see what happens is when you get attacked, you get this 3 square by 3 square engagement area. All the units that are within this area are going to take part in the battle. And what you do, you just hit the button. And away we go here. And of course it'll load. And then now you kind of get another deployment on the direct battle space screen here. Now you can see these little squares here and what they mean, and it took me a while to wrap my head around this. These kind of dictate the type of terrain that you're in. Obviously, we're in the desert in North Africa. We have terrain features, flat, desert, bushes, stuff like that. But the symbols within within these squares dictate cover and concealment. They dictate your line of sight and things of that nature. So before we do that, so what you do, you've got your units down here, and this is the deployment phase. We've got a recon command company here. These are all the units that make up this company. So if we click on that, you see I'm highlighted green here. And then you can just right-click them somewhere, and away they go. Or you can fine-tune it. Before we get to that, you can actually hit this button up here to display the tactical map. This kind of gives you a little bit of information. Again, blue is good, red is bad. We're attacking this way. And the bad guys are trying to attack down this road here. At least according to our intelligence that we have, they're going to try to attack down this way. From what little I've played, that's not always the case. The AI is pretty smart and pretty sneaky. They'll hit you, they'll get flanking maneuvers on you, they'll ambush you, they'll do all sorts of fun stuff for you. But what you want to do, within these companies, you obviously have a command group. You've got telephone and cable guys, because they've got to lay the cable to keep your troops connected to your commanders for good command and control. And all of this stuff does take an effect upon the battlefield. So let's go ahead and set up our guys. Now again, we're going to go back to these symbols here. The blue symbols are line of sight. So the more symbols you have, the farther that they can see. And if we click this button up here, this is the switch visibility mode. Since we're going to be placing our infantry, we want to turn it to the guy. And then if you right-click that down there, you can see we just dropped that platoon there. They can see pretty far to the To the left and back here to the bottom right, not so much facing forward. And if we zoom down, we can see why. It's because there's a little rise right here, a little hill. But what we can also do is we can hit this line of sight button here, and that'll tell us. So what we can see is here in the green. The red we cannot see. Now with these circles or these squares again, so the blue stuff here, that's your line of sight, and depending on how you have it set, the outer, this orange box indicates that this area of terrain has good concealment features. If we go over to here, you can see these two squares here have a interior box highlighted orange, and this one's red. This is actual cover. With black being the worst, so there's no cover here. Red being, okay, there's a little bit of cover. Orange being, well, that's better than red. And then you get yellow and green, green being the best cover. You can't always go by what the terrain features are on the map here. Even though it's a pile of rocks, you would think that that would be green cover. I've found it not always to be the case. But let's go ahead and just dump our units here. We'll get our guys set up. And you just right click them. You can actually hold right click and move the arrow for a facing. There. Put these guys here. There's their trucks. It looks like we've got another recon group up here. So we'll give, oh, we forgot to place the command groups here. We'll put him there and him there. Why not? Oh, I thought we had tanks. We don't have any tanks. No big deal. All right, we're going to put these guys a little bit more forward. Grab their trucks, put them back there. And it looks like we have, what do we have here? If you just mouse over, it'll tell you. So we've got some GMC M6s. Let's take a peek at those. And the models in this game are fantastic. They're really nice. The guys go through loading animations. They get blasted. You guys will see. We're just going to leave them there covering the road. Again, I'm just showing you guys what's up. This bar here gives kind of a status to whatever unit you're highlighted on. So if we highlight Bailey here, you can see he's got no heavy weapons. He's got 12 members in that platoon. 100% ammo. They have smoke grenades. The command level is 67. The higher the command level, the better your troops are going to be on the battlefield. What else here? Their experience, their morale, their within voice communications to the commanders, and they've got a 400 range observability. These buttons here kind of dictate how you lay out your formations. If you guys want to go, if you want your men to take cover, to shoot at infantry only, you can get pretty detailed with some of the movement, some of the choices you have for ordering your units around. If we click on Bailey, we can't do it here. We got to do it once we launch. This is binocular view, so you can kind of zoom in. You get kind of a quasi night vision view too, which is kind of weird in a World War II game. So if you right click on the binoculars and then hit tab, you get this weird, again, like thermal image. You can see all the guys. But what we want to do is to go ahead. I'll go over these buttons up here. This is for what you use when you're actually in the game, in the battle. But this is the deployment phase for the battle. Once you get the deployment phase done, you hit finish deployment, and then you have a turn to do initial orders. So you can kind of, the way this game's order system works is you can only give so many orders to your units before the chain of command gets kind of bogged down. I think that's what it's trying to illustrate. So if you're rapidly giving out orders to each and every platoon back to back to back, you're just going to saturate, the command net. So the best thing to do, a tip that I've learned, is to do it by formations. So if I want, say, this Stavin formation here, this recon company, I want to give them an order, I can just give them a single order as a company versus an individual platoon, and it will cost me less penalty, on on the command level. You can see it here. We're at command level 100 with a growth rate of 2, required 8 to 39. So what we want to do, we're going to go ahead. You can hit spacebar, and it brings up this kind of command wheel, or you can right mouse click. And each one of these is a different symbol. So you have attack, move, march on roads if possible, fast move, covert move, take defense. You can have them recon and assault. Since this is a recon company, let's go ahead and give them a recon move there. So they're going to move here once the game starts. Same thing with these guys. We'll have them recon. They kind of send out little scouts. These guys, we'll tell them to be in defense. You can see here, this means that for our total combined forces for this engagement, we've got really good anti-personnel weaponry. Not so much against airplanes, and really, really poor anti-tanks. So if the Germans come at us with tanks, we're in big trouble. This button here, if we highlight a unit, this is kind of our information update, battle update display, and it tells us that what's happening during the battle. So when units spot an enemy, it'll chime in over here, and then you can just click it and it'll take you there. When a unit gets killed, if a commander gets killed, all that good stuff. Now, one thing, if you do highlight a unit, you right-click. You can right-click again on the symbol, and you can kind of fine-tune that order a little bit more. So if you want your tanks to move buttoned, if you want them to pop smoke, if you want them to be in a certain formation, you can do that as well. But let's go ahead and get started here. All right, so you hit go. 6:30 in the morning. These guys are going to move out and recon the area. This button here, it puts up the objectives. So you can see the crossroads down there in the bottom left, going on and off. You can do this. This is kind of the marker type. So you can have it here with the names and everything. I honestly like it like this. Each one of those individual dots is a man. Each tank is a tank, and the flags represent the command units. And again, we're waiting. Now, the battles in this game, sometimes they take a while to develop. We're playing on a pretty big map. I can't remember what the square mileage is, but the battle maps are pretty significant. So it may take you, 10, 15 minutes before you get contacted by an enemy unit. Like I said, the AI is fairly tricky. They will flank you. They will come around and hit you where you're least expecting it. All right, so these guys we told to get in a good defensive position. They're going to watch this road network. So what the AI tries to do, it tries to find good hold down positions, things like that, pieces of cover, terrain. Now, being that this is North Africa and Tunisia, it's the desert, so there's not a whole lot of cover to find. But you can see our boys are moving out. Nice formation. And there is a time compression on it. We're going to do that. So if you look at the play button, if you click it, left click it, you can pause. Left click it again is to go. If you right click it, it's time compression. Things move a little bit faster. The nice thing about the time compression is when an event happens, let's go ahead and move these guys up here. When an event happens, it will automatically pause or revert back to, all right, we've got contacts here. It automatically reverted to normal time. Now, this is going to be bad. You can see the units here, they're starting to communicate. That's what those symbols are. They're communicating among the different platoons to let everybody know that they're about to get smoke checked. What do we have here? We got a Panzer III, or is that Panzer IV? That's a Panzer IV with a snub gun. And we got some Tigers. Oh, this is going to be great. We have no anti-tank weaponry, guys. So these German Tigers are going to be devastating. You see these guys are shooting. What's he got?
Enemy spotted!
Self-propelled gun. And the enemies, they will call arty on you. There's a lot of tanks here, guys. A whole nother platoon. And you can see we've already lost the vehicle. If we click on it, it'll take us where it was. That vehicle is No longer viable, that poor Jeep. Now, I will say this, night battles in this game are phenomenal. It looks so good. Watching the tracers fly, because the tracers, we'll pause here, they do illuminate, and you're not going to be able to tell it here in the daytime, but when they're flying out, they illuminate the ground. The tracers will, you know, when they hit the ground, you know, if there's brush or whatever, they'll start fires. You can see these guys have popped smoke. Dust kicking up. I mean, this is a good-looking game, gentlemen. If you're a World War II buff and you like playing, you know, these types of computer tactical RTS-type games, I'm really liking this. And this is coming from somebody who's played a lot of combat mission. And honestly, I don't want to say this is better than combat mission because it's just different. And we got more tanks. Got a good shot of him firing. Look at that. Hello. But if you can wrap your head around the UI and some of the nuances of this game, you'll definitely get your money's worth. Hopefully this Panzer gets stuck. You'll see the tanks. They'll get stuck. We'll go ahead and continue on. They'll throw tracks. The crews will bail out. And look at this. They called in artillery right there. I think they'd see the artillery, or maybe that's just them pounding the shit out of us. And we'll let this play out. Binocular zoom here. Our two recon companies, our poor guys here. Let's go zoom in over there and take a look. We just don't have anything to counter these Germans. Much like kind of happened in the actual battle. If you guys have, you know anything about history or, you know, this particular engagement, the Battle of, no, what is it? I can't think of it right now. Shoot. If you guys give me just a second here. Just replying to somebody. Sidi Bou Zid. You know, the Americans and the French and the Commonwealth forces got their clocks clean. You know, it wasn't until later on that they were able to kind of stuff the German advance. But, you know, Rommel and his boys definitely put a hurting on the Americans here. These guys can't continue combat. They're calling it a day. They're bugging out. Morale's been broken. Let's go ahead and get those out of the way. And these tanks, you can run over guys. It's pretty brutal. This guy's on fire. No, not today, buddy. Sorry. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to digging a lot deeper into this game and how to play it properly. That's a nice smoke screen there. Because it is such a good game. Well, they're still shooting at these tanks. I don't know what they're shooting with, but it's not going to do much against these. But yeah, guys, if you've played this, or, you know, its predecessors, definitely let me know, man. I know there's a couple guys out there on YouTube who've played this extensively. And I'm going to go back and watch your tutorials, man, because, like I said, I want to learn how to play this. Like calling artillery, from what I hear, in the earlier games, in the Operation Star games, it was pretty straightforward as far as calling in arty. I guess with Mia's Front, which was kind of the new UI redesign, the arty process is a little bit different now. You can also... Let me show you this right quick. Those tanks just push through our lines. No big deal. You can give control of units to the AI on your side. So, wow, those guys just all got wrecked. Poor GIs. So, as you can imagine, you know, you can have some fairly big engagements with lots of units on the board. And some people might find that a little bit overwhelming to have to kind of micro, you know, 30 different, companies or whatever. So what you can do is you can actually assign specific units to the AI, and the AI will handle them, and you don't have to worry about them. You can assign all your units to the AI if you want, and just let the battles play out. And that's perfectly fine as well. You can zoom back out to the operational level menu, or operational level map. It gives you timestamps of your recon of what you saw. So here at 6:37, it's 6:38 in the morning now. At 6:37, tanks were spotted here. These tanks just came back up, spotted. And you can kind of see what's going on. You can see the original intel said that the attack was going to come down that main avenue to the crossroads, but look what the AI did. They D'd up with Tigers here, and then they're pushing on a flanking maneuver to come around us. As far as I'm concerned, that's smart AI. That's good stuff. They're just pushing on. Can't stop them. We can go ahead and surrender. But I just want to kind of give you guys a, initial first look. I want to thank Team Tactics, Andre especially, for hooking me up with a review key. I'm a believer in this game, guys, and you will be seeing more of this game on my channel, which kind of coincides with another game. I know some of you have seen the last video I did about the Battalion Commander Series Last Blitzkrieg. Well, the next game in that series that just came out is called Baptism by Fire, which is the campaign for, it's the Battle of Kasserine Pass. So I've got that on pre-order. Well, I've had it on pre-order. I'm waiting for it to be delivered. And when it does, we'll be playing more of that. So it'll be nice to play a video game in conjunction with a Hex Encounter board game. I'm excited about that. That'll be cool. May even have to go pick up a book or two and start reading stuff. And that half track just got waxed. Tanks are pretty cool when you kill a tank. Even if you wreck the crew, this Tiger's just coming through. Look how nasty that Tiger is. Go and turn off the icons here. Road wheels moving, tracks moving, everything's fully manned. The crew will pop out and just do the things that you would think that a tank crew would do in World War II. Can't stop the Tigers. Nasty, nasty, nasty. But yeah, again, thanks to Team, Andre. I will be playing more of this. This is just a quick first impressions review. I'm sold on it. You can find it on Steam. The link is down in the description of the YouTube video. So give it a look, guys. Honestly, if you can learn the UI, and for those of you, I know you can learn the UI. I know you guys can learn how to play this game. A lot of you play, some pretty hefty games as it is. So I know that this shouldn't be a challenge, especially with the quality that you get here. Look at this firefight. Let's go and turn that objective marker off. You got tracers going everywhere. You got Tigers breaking through your lines. What do you do? What can you do but turn tail and run, guys? But hey, thanks for watching, guys. And yeah, I'll call you next, or I'll catch you next time. Like I said, you guys will see more of this. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay, abreast of when I put videos up. Hit the like button as well. That way these videos get shot up to the top. And you guys can catch more. Did we kill something here? Did something die? We didn't kill that Tiger, did we? Oh, he's all muddy. Barrel's going down. I wonder what he was hit by. Anti-tank grenade? I don't know. No, he's still shooting. He's not done. Let's just see how our troops are. My gosh. Brutal. Brutal, brutal game. Alright, guys. You take it easy. Thanks for watching.